Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to A Link to the Past Randomizer League Season number 3. This is week number 2. This is an open defeat Ganon type seed. Right now, today, we have two teams, very good teams in their division. We have the 2019 Titans Mitt of 2019 versus We Are the Imposters. For the Titans Mitts, we do have SailorNep. And for the Imposters, we do have Hitsuyan1337. I am one of your commentators. I am Bandman25. I am joined in the booth by a revolving oscillate. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm looking forward to another fantastic race here. And like I said, we've got two fantastic players here, SailorNep and Hitsuyan. I've seen them dozens of times before. They are really fantastic runners. So it's beginning a really good race here.
Oh, I definitely agree with you on that. Earlier this week, we did have match number 1 between these two teams. We did see Dainty of Titans Miss defeat Waterloo of the Imposters. That match was won kind of easily by Dainty. That thus gives the Titans Miss their 9 points. They are currently 3-0 in the league, tied with first place with Pug Trio, which is on another channel at this exact same time. While We Are Imposters, they are currently 1-2, currently in about a 3-way tie for 5th place. But as we've seen so far in this league is so tight. It's probably only going to come down to a match or two in the difference between all the teams. And it would not surprise me one bit if we have a ton of tiebreakers.
Starting off, we've got two Sanctuary starts and 20 rupees in the Sanctuary. Probably going to be seeing runners make a early trip over to the Lumberjack, see if there's anything over there. We have got pendants at Tower of Hera and a green pendant at Eastern Palace and a regular crystal at Desert Palace.
Yeah, this is the second seed in a row for me where I've actually seen 2 pendants that are going on in the light world. Oh, hopefully that doesn't mean we're going to have to see an early Aghanim play here.
SailorNep is actually just going straight into the Lost Woods here, whilst Hitsuyan is going to have a look at that Lumberjack. Also checking the Bush Crabs. The Bush Crab is dropping 20 rupees. Not bad. That's going to cover your cash needs for Kakariko. You can buy some bombs, check the board, check the board offender. Probably going to get some other for cash along the way, so hopefully she'll be able to do both of those, whereas it might be out of reach for SailorNep to do both those checks. Looks like there's just a piece of heart at the Lumberjack, so we're not going to be killing Aga1 for that.
Yeah, and just a hard piece there at the mushroom spot, so nothing too soon. Hopefully that will change here briefly.
Hitsuyan putting a little more cash. The Bush Crab decides to get stuck in between those two tree stumps there rather than getting in the log, which makes it a lot easier to pick up all those 20 rupee drops.
Yeah, it's a lot easier definitely when you, instead of having to go chase it, which seems like you have to do about 9 times out of 10.
SailorNep giving us our first look at the basement of Blind's hut, looking a little green here. I suspect he has a bit of a rising damp problem.
Yeah, well, if you didn't get your money from those crabs, you're definitely get it here in Blind's house. I mean, a whole bunch of rupees there. Got yourself 110 rupees, so that takes care of your bottle vendor so far.
I prefer to see anything other than rupees there. That's kind of disappointing for Blind's hut. And a big 300 in the well, so all of that stuff in Blind's hut was completely redundant. Oh. And another what the? 300s in the well. That means we could be seeing some early checks since we get a moon pearl or some power gloves or flippers.
I don't think I have actually seen that much money this early in a game in quite a while. 800 plus rupees. Oh, and we got ourselves the red cane from the bottle vendor.
Okay, red cane's not a bad item. Well, it kind of is bad in the early game because it doesn't really unlock anything or do any progress. It's more of a mid-game / late game item. At least it means you can also kill enemies without having to rely on your meager supply of free bombs for SailorNep. And there is a book in the chicken hut. That's interesting. That's early access to Desert Palace.
Yeah, and that being our lone crystal right now for the light world. I mean, at least they get with that cane. Oh, we find ourselves the ice rod in the back of the tavern. Holy cow.
Another late game item. Assuming we even need to go into Turtle Rock.
Well, at this rate right now, with the green pendant at Eastern Palace, a pendant at Tower Hera, I would say the odds are going to be pretty good that we're going to have to go in there. And look at bombs there on the library.
So we could be seeing a little bit of different routing in the south of Lake Hylia area. A lot of runners these days tend to they go straight to Mini Moldorm Cave and then on to the Ice Rod Cave. And then do the dam and go to Agena straight afterwards. And I imagine that could definitely come up for one of our runners here. They will do the Mini Moldorm Cave first, going into Ice Rod Cave. Then they'll do the dam afterwards, go to Agena, and then take a peek into Desert Palace. That book certainly incentivizes that kind of routing. But so for now, SailorNep is going to go for the other kind of routing and take a peek into the Front of Escape first.
Yeah, which I think is probably a good call for right now. I mean, she does have a weapon that she can actually take care of the enemy. She can't kill them. Unfortunately, she is lacking in the magic department. She has not seen the tree pool of the full magic containers, but and look at we just got a heart piece there from Uncle.
A highly disturbing palette in the series here. It's kind of blood red, and SailorNep indeed claiming a last bit of life from her uncle.
Well, we did just have Halloween, so maybe she's still here in the Halloween spirit. Oh, and there you go. She figures out that she can get a full magic container, so now she can use that red cane to kill all her enemies here in the Front of Escape.
And Hitsuyan is going to go head towards the south instead. He's heading towards the dam to begin with. We'll see if he decides to take this to the left or goes on to Mini Moldorm Cave in the more traditional route. Even more rupees in the front of the dam, and SailorNep showing a little bit of knowledge and using the Ice Rod here. It just flat out one-hit kills those blue guards.
Yeah, that's the one that always confused me on that Ice Rod, how you can kill the blue guards with one shot of the Ice Rod, but all the others it actually freezes.
It's one of those things that you don't really think about until you actually do some experimenting around with different weapons and such. Knowing that the Ice Rod will just one-shot those guards, and even quicker than the Fire Rod would do, is really good game knowledge.
Oh, we get our first shield of the game.
Hitsuyan going for a mix of Ice Rod and bombs in the Mini Moldorm Cave. Unfortunately, the Ice Rod is a slow projectile, so it's difficult to hit those Moldorms, unless it gets stuck in between the pits like that. We've got a shovel, that's a fetch crest, it's not, and a mushroom, another fetch crest, and a boomerang.
Well, at least we have ourselves 2 fetch quests that we can check a little early, but I mean, at least that gives us something here.
So Hitsuyan proceeding on to the Ice Rod Cave. Now he can choose to do a fake flipper and go over to the Zora area, or check out the Hobo and then onto the Zora area, but he will not be able to check out the Waterfall Cave in the Zora area due to lacking the Moon Pearl. Because of some strange quirk in the coding of the items and then numbering in the system, if you have a Moon Pearl and you're doing fake flipper, you can get into the Waterfall Cave. Without the Moon Pearl, you can't get into it.
Yeah, that's definitely one of those unique glitches that the game allows. Definitely like to try to understand a little more of the coding on that one, why that's allowed.
Oh wow, this early game is really stinking so far. It's definitely nice to get something like the cane and the Ice Rod early on. It means you don't have to go hunting for those later, but they don't do anything well for us right now. We're starting to have to go to more checks are out of the way, like, say, Eastern Palace, which Hitsuyan is heading over to. So he's going to be checking out Saha. He may dip into Eastern Palace itself as well, but Saha is an easy 3 items. And SailorNep is making the routing over to Agina and Desert Palace.
Yeah, definitely some divergence here between both runners, but this is probably just a quick save and quit here for SailorNep here, and make her way back to the other toward the Ice Rod Cave. In the closet, we got ourselves the bottle, $20.
That is up to 3 fetch quests now. That is ridiculous. Oh, and a hammer!
Definitely a good find there at Agina.
So that is a much, much easier way of killing things than, say, using limited supply of magic or bombs to kill stuff in the early game. And it will get you into the Dark World once you find a pair of gloves and a moon pole. It's also equivalent to tempered sword damage, so just having the hammer really early on is fantastic. The only sacrifice you have to make for that is a slightly awkward hitbox compared to a tempered sword. Jan is going to go on to Eastern Palace here.
Yeah, definitely a good check. I mean, he does has a weapon to kill everybody. Does get 3 checks, 3 items in here. Hopefully he can get some here in the front, even though without that lamp or a fire rod, the big key chest not being in logic. But with these runners, logic doesn't mean a whole lot.
Yeah, but I really believe we are just down to these dungeon dives to try and find some progress here. Got a compass and in Desert Palace and a big key popping up in Eastern Palace, so that is 1 additional check.
Oh!
And that is a power glove. French vanilla.
Yeah, definitely a good find. There's 2/3 of our Dark World access. Be interesting to find where we find that moon pearl. At this rate, there's not many places left to check that we haven't seen. I mean, we have 1 more item left here. Or no, sorry, we got 2 more items left here in Eastern. But with that glove, she can easily check the back of Escape, which looks like that's where she's going.
Yeah, but I imagine after back of Escape we'll probably be seeing Zora if there's nothing here. There's a very good chance that there's something here. And hopefully that something is a moon pearl. We've got the flippers. Okay, so that will get you to Zora in another way. And it does also open up the hobo logically and the waterfall cave logically. So that's starting to look quite reasonable now. I don't think we saw SailorNep do the South Shore yet, so she's probably going to do that. And then head over to Icewood Cave and then just do regular swimming over to Hobo, Zora area, everything else. So this is quite efficient routing for her. The Desert Palace play definitely playing off.
I mean, so far here in Eastern Palace, though, Hitsuyan has not really found anything, nothing too exciting. He's found all the dungeon items, so he's going to find an item here coming up, and then as well as one on Armos Knights.
If you find something like an out of logic moon pearl here, this would be huge for him, and that would mean that SailorNep wouldn't find a moon pearl in her routing, so he'd find something like a lamp to get over there. Unfortunately, that was nothing, so Eastern Palace was a big bust. Game is pointing you towards Desert Palace, and that is definitely looking like the answer here. So Hitsuyan's now going to move on and do his fun for escape play. Yeah, that's not going to get him anything other than the shield.
Yeah, well, let's not forget though too, and chat's kind of pointing it out as well. We can clear our fetch quest right now. I mean, we can go do our fake powder with on Magic Bat. We can go turn in the mushroom. We got a couple possibilities here that we can even go dig up there in the dig spot. So we do still have a couple more places left.
I must admit, I did not think about the fake powder to begin with. There's this ridiculously early fake powder possibility here, but indeed it is a possibility thanks to having that Cane of Samaya as one of our first items.
Yeah, you don't really find it very often. I mean, 13 minutes into the game, and you have an opportunity to do a fake powder. So
So no need for SailorNep to mess around with the screen transition or jump off the ladder because we can't store water walk due to having no boots. Don't even need to worry about that Zora fireball because we are doing legitimate swimming. If you were to take a fireball in the face when you're fake flipping, the game will softlock you. And because the random devs are quite kind, they will just kill you right out to avoid that softlock so you can start again. But when you're regularly swimming, you just take damage like you normally would. And we see that Hitsuyan is going for some Maya block push strats to kill the blue guards here. So a little slower than just using a single ice rod shot, but it gets the job done.
so far, the flipper locations really haven't been producing very much. It's a hard container there on Lake Hiley Island. Hard piece there from the hobo, but we still got 4 more items we can check up here in the Zor area, 2 in the waterfall, 1 on the ledge, and then also 1 at King Zor himself.
To be fair, I always think of the Lake Hiley Island as being more of a mirror check than a flippers check, but you do need flippers to get over there. But by the time you do have the mirror, you generally have a bunch of items that you can also use to set up a fake flipper through answer the glitch, so flippers are just a suggestion most of the time. I did not catch what that first item was in Waterfall Cave. Unfortunately, we had a bit of a frame drop there.
Yeah, I did not see it either. Hopefully somebody in chat will be able to help us out on that one. And look at just a heart piece there on the Zora ledge. More than enough money to check out King Zora, which looks like it's kind of muddy this time, not the nice, pretty water we're used to seeing.
Alright, let's see what the big fish is going to cough up for 500 rupees. This has got to be something if that Waterfall Cave wasn't anything. It's a moon pole. There we go.
So there's our Dark World access right now before SailorNep. I'm sure that's probably where she's going right now. Link's house, going to go check out Hype Cave.
Hitsuyan still avoiding Desert Palace. He's going for the first of his fetch quests now with the mushroom.
Oh, it looks like SailorNep has turned me into a fibber. Looks like she's going to go check up the eastern.
Yeah, I imagine
right
she's
now.
just going to be poking at Sahar here because this is just three really quick items, and then after that, going into the Dark World. May take a little peek into Paths of Darkness, otherwise, but you're going to get locked out of Paths of Darkness pretty quickly if you don't find a small key in the front.
And it looks like Hitsuyan's going to give our first shovel check here between the runners.
Yeah, he's doing all his fetch quests now because this is a good time for him to do his fetch quests. Unfortunately, he's not going to, well, we don't know if it's going to give him anything yet, but it's not what he needs to do, which is go to Desert Palace to get his gloves. And now there's just 3 bombs there.
And it looks like SailorNep, she's going to go take in her mushroom. Don't think we saw that on Hitsuyan's side.
Yeah, but Hitsuyan just did the mushroom, it wasn't anything. And he's just done his shuffle, and he's now going to hand in his bottle, and, well, he can't do a fake powder because he hasn't got that hammer.
Oh, we forgot all about Sick Kid here now that we have our bottle. Now, and it looks like SailorNep's going to save Scum to pick up, to keep that mushroom. And it looks like there was just arrows there at the Sick Kid.
Something has gone wrong with SailorNep's stream here. I do apologize for this. We'll try and get it fixed. We can't switch audio to Hitsuyan, unfortunately, but it sounds like SailorNep is still playing, so we'll just have to play it by ear what she's doing. So far, that's going into the Dark World. And now we're getting an invisible map check. Apologies to our tracker, who's not going to be able to see that, but we'll hopefully be able to catch up with that a bit later.
Yeah, I want to give a big, definitely want to give a big shout out to our tracker, Professor Pixie. She's keeping all those buttons pushed. Unfortunately, she's not being able to see a whole lot right now on SailorNep side, but as Ocelot pointed out, hopefully we'll get that fixed here shortly.
It sounds like SailorNep has just gotten a bunch of items from Hype Cave and Mystery Hype Cave. We cannot give that a rating between 0 and 10 because we have no idea what's in there. Sounds like SailorNep is making her way towards the Pyramid or Powers of Darkness. And Hitsuyan making his way into Desert Palace. Unfortunately, this is one of the last things he's got to do, so he's definitely falling behind SailorNep here because those important bag gloves were here. And that made SailorNep's routing a little bit better and also gave her the keys to the Dark World. Unfortunately, since Hitsuyan's last thing to do, he's going to be behind quite a few minutes here behind SailorNep.
And here in a few seconds, Hitsuyan gonna pick up his mitts, or not his mitts, his power glove.
Yeah, you've got a power glove for one hand and you've got a tiny smith for the other hand.
Sounds like SailorNep is there at Catfish at this point. It sounded like there was nothing there, didn't pick it up, so be interesting to see where she is going to be where she's going to be at. And Hitsuyan, he's making his way into the back of Escape here. He's going to find his flippers here in a second. And it looks like he's going to pass on Dark Cross. I mean, they did find the map. They did find the keys, so that is in sort of logic, even though we don't have a fire source.
I mean, when you're missing one item for Dark World, you kind of want to stay in logic because that's much more likely to be your moon pearl than anything else. If you go out of logic, you might start finding things like swords and so on, which would be good, but it's not really what you want to do. You want to find the other means of getting to Dark World, which is moon pearl. So yeah, he's going to do his hobo check. He's going to go up to Zora and get his power gloves and again be into the Dark World a little bit behind SailorNep. He may choose to go in from a different area, say like the Village of Outcasts portal, and he may find more stuff over by Beasttown and everywhere else. So he's not out of it by any means.
Oh, it sounds like we are getting magic bats. There's a possibility we found a powder.
I mean, judging by the air sounds, I think she depleted her magic and was doing fake powder.
Okay, well, I must have missed that, but I did hear the money rattle, so sound like Magic Bat just gave us a little bit of money. So the first chest in Waterfall Fair that we did not see was just some bombs. And he's making the way up to Zora, gonna get that Moon Pearl. So he's gonna have Dark World access here in probably about a minute or so.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Hitsuyan doing that Desert Pass last of all the plays. But that is the nature of Rando. It can be a fickle beast. Sometimes in other races that could have been exactly like this up until now, Eastern Palace could have had all the answers instead.
Yeah, there's been a couple races I've seen here in this league where it comes down where there was an item in Eastern Palace as well as an item in our favorite place as Agina. And I've even actually seen one on Saha. There was an ice rod on Saha that basically would just determine the race the other day. And it looks like now Hitsuyan gonna make his way to the Dark World, so we're gonna see some of the places that SailorNep has been to already.
From the sense of things, he's making his way to Skullwoods now. That is a pendant, and we have got red crystals at Swamp Palace and Ice Palace.
Definitely a very interesting layout so far of our crystals here for this round.
It is actually interesting that SailorNep is going into Skullwoods here. There's only 2 items available to her. She could go to the boss if she had a fire rod. We have no way of knowing that just yet, but it's still a pendant. I think I would avoid it and just go to Thieves Town straight away, especially thanks to having that hammer.
Oh,
now, that said, blind isn't... Yeah, there's a lamp and a cape in Hype Cave. Interesting. Blind in Thieves Town is going to be a bit of a tricky play without any swords. You can use hammer strats on him. You can also use some Maya strats on him, and that cape is just something else you can use. Not that you can actually use any items for that cape, so not so useful there. But you've got a bit of health to get through it. I assume SailorNep has that fire shield like Hitsuyan does, so you can also block the fireballs from Blind, which is probably the only useful place the fire shield comes in use in. But yeah, I am surprised he's going for Skull Woods over Thieves Town. I'd definitely go to Thieves Town first if I had the choice.
Yeah, I would probably do the same thing with it being a crystal. But I know a lot of people have said how when it comes to Skull Woods, it's more of an overworld check more than anything else. And it looked like that was just a big 20 there on the pyramid.
Right, well, we do have a fix in place for SailorNep stream. Unfortunately, due to the 10-minute delay that we have in the league, we're not going to be seeing this fix for another 10 minutes, so enjoy the blind commentary for now. And Hitsuyan going up to do something that I don't think SailorNep has done yet, and that's going to be the big old catfish.
I believe she did. I think I heard a catfish, but I could be wrong here, so...
I heard a lot of bomb explosions, so I think SailorNep went up to the pyramid rather than go over to catfish. Because around the pyramid you've got high noxes and they throw all their bombs and everything else. This just has weird, sort of like downgraded Octo Rocks. I don't know what the name for these enemies are.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, I'm guilty of that. I'm bad with a lot of the names of a lot of the enemies here.
Yeah, the jumping enemy is called a roper, and I made sure to remember that name because that caused a big accident in one of the races I previously covered. Catfish had a red boomerang, and Hitsuyan says, no, rejected. I prefer my blue boomerang.
And it looks like Hitsuyan's just going to follow, well, possibly follow what SailorNep did. I mean, obviously we're blind here, so we can't exactly tell what she's done.
But I think she's gone. She left Skullwoods pretty quickly, and now she's doing her Village of Outcasts check, starting with the chess game. We'll see if she does anything else in the Village of Outcasts as well, but she's probably going to be heading into Thieves Town very shortly. Yeah, that's her opening the door to TT. And she's opening up the brewery now. She gets an item. We don't know what that item is.
Yeah, that definitely is a very good question. Unfortunately, we're getting all the teases, but we got to wait on Hitsuyan to finally tell us that answer.
So if there's nothing in Skullwoods and Hitsuyan just goes into Village of Outcasts and Thieves Town, he could be making up some time here because of his dip into Eastern Palace cost him quite a lot of time previously. But he's going to do his own little peek into Skullwoods. So there's 4 chests in the front of Beast Town, and given that it is a crystal and you've got a hammer for checking out the big chest, there's really no reason to just leave the dungeon straight away. You've got plenty of health and other items to make your way through. The cape, like I said before, it doesn't come in much useful for Blind himself because you don't have any swords, but it definitely comes in useful for the previous parts of the dungeons. You can just like put on the cape and just go through the hellway and not care about taking damage there or bouncing off stuff. So there's some utility here.
Yeah, not having the boots right now, hellway is not fun to do. So having that cape to save you is really nice.
Okay, so there was a hard container in the front of Skullwoods. So it's looking like our runners will have plenty of health for going through Feast Town. Probably going to be hearing SailorNep clear Feast Town before we get a stream back. That should be coming back in about 6 minutes now. But we get a... I do love for this. We're going to get a blind fight.
Ooh,
oh, there was a bow in the
second item.
That's a... Yeah. That puts... yeah, that gives us full access to Paths of Darkness, so we can clear the entire thing now. And that is a lucrative dungeon. Lots of items in there. So probably going to be seeing some runners... Well, at least... well, probably going to be seeing some plays into there next.
So it looks like now Hitsuyan making his way south. Probably going to do the exact same checks here with SailorNep here in Thieves Town. Oh, no, he's turning me into a fibber once again, so that's twice in one match. Going to check out our bumper cave. And
makes sense to do this now if you're in the area, because you do have that cape. It's just 20 rupees though. Alright, we got screen back on SailorNep side. A little earlier than I was expecting, so unfortunately Blind is going to be fully lit up.
Definitely nice to see her back now.
But we can say that in the Maiden's chest there was just 10 hours. Let's see if she goes to the big chest or not. She's ignoring it, so there's probably a map or a compass in there.
Yeah, she does have the small key.
Yeah, a little quirk about Feast Town is that small key. If you don't find it anywhere in the dungeon, it's locked inside the big chest, because you don't need that small key for anything other than getting to the big chest. So it can lock itself.
Oh, we found ourselves the flute there in the chess game.
Yeah, that is a definitely useful item that will get you over to Paths of Darkness pretty quickly. And we see that SailorNep's going for some Samurai strats here. Using the fireballs from the blocks to hit Blind, as well as letting him just fly into the blocks and damage himself. Oh! One of the spinning heads flies into her and she takes a death. This is the kind of stuff that Hitsuyan needs to catch up here.
Yeah, that was
and
definitely...
she's actually going to take the save and crit. I think she has picked up one of the map or compass already, and she knows the other one is going to drop from Blind himself. So she's just saying, I'm going to come back here later when I've got a sword or something to make it easier. I'm going to do something else where I can get progress. And I think this is a very reasonable play to make. There's no need to go kill Blind other than presumably the dud item that's on him. Now, if there is some kind of progress on him, this could be bad for SailorNep. So we have to see. Most of the dungeon is a mystery to us so far, but there was a map there in the first 4 chests of Feast Town.
Yeah, so there's our map and our big key. So far, we found 2 items that we've seen through both runners. So far, we've seen a pack of bombs and a pack of arrows here. So it'll be interesting to see what we got here as our last 2 items.
Yeah, SailorNep has done a Hype Cave, so she does have that lamp and that magic cape that were inside.
And I would think with that, she's probably going to make her way either to Maya or... Oh, no, it looks like she's going to make her way over to Pod.
No point going to Maya. We've already done the Desert Palace. We had to do the Desert Palace to get the gloves, and you can't actually get into Maya area itself because no mitts. So yeah, like I said before, C was going to go activate a flute and then head over to Palace of Darkness. It's definitely looking like the most valuable play here because you get a lot of items inside and just another crystal.
Yeah, and right now, I mean, even if she would have gone to the mountain, unfortunately, she doesn't have that hook shot or the mirror, so her checks would be extremely limited here on what she could do.
You get the save and crit point, which isn't so bad before you get the flute, but now you have the flute, it's a lot more bad, but hey. Right, Hitsuyan busting open the attic. Inside the attic is a piece of heart, which conveniently tops off his health. That is a nice refill for him. If you ever get a piece of heart and that generates a new heart container for you, that will refill your health. If you just get a plain old heart container, that will not refill your health, with the exception of the so-called Sanctuary Heart, which is a unique heart container found normally only in the Sanctuary in the regular game, but it can be anywhere else in the Rando, and if you pick that up, that refills your health fully.
Yeah, so at least it's nice to know so far here in Pod that we are not bow locked. I did find a key in that first room, so it does make life a little bit easier, even though they do have the bow. So, but routing is going to be a lot simpler as well.
SailorNep bombing up in the right side is not going to do any hover shenanigans over to there. I don't know how much experience he has with hovering that, but it's probably one of the most difficult hovers in the game because you have to turn a corner when you do it. And this is me speaking as a guy who will probably never be able to hover ever in his life. So, hey.
I'm number 2. That is a trick that will never be a part of my repertoire when it comes to playing this game.
That is one way of circumventing the bow requirement to get over to that right side. There's many different ways you can circumvent that bow requirement to get over to the right side, but that's one of them that is theoretically available anytime.
Now, and SailorNep there finds herself the Ether Medallion there in the that little basement area, and Hitsuyan taking on Blind with the hammer.
Places a block on where Blind's going to pop up. Places another block, just misses him. Oh yeah, there he goes. Nice kill. Saves a little bit of time on SailorNep there, and yeah, it was just a compass. So SailorNep was totally in the right there to just leave the dungeon and go do something else that gets her stuff. So she will be spending probably a minute and a half to go back and kill Blind later, but she can do so much more safely. There was absolutely no need for her to go back and do it instantly.
Yeah, and I don't think she checked the big chest. I think she just bypassed it. So I think she was gambling there on if Blind had the item or if it was left there in the big chest.
That is interesting, actually. So, yeah, that is real interesting. I confess, I didn't see the big chest on Hitsuyan's side.
Hitsuyan's side, it was just a heart container.
Okay, so that's not going to bite SailorNep, but that is interesting. Actually, chose to skip it when it wasn't a guarantee that the compass was in there. Because we did see that map was in the first 4 chests on Hitsuyan's side.
I did not get to see that item there on the turtle room. And look like it was just a heart piece there at the dig game. Oh, got half magic. That's definitely a good thing to find.
Yes, he's making his way over to the big chest now. Not ideal. She is going to have to kill herself on the way out, and she's got quite a bit of health now. You see that she's running into these Kodongos a bit to deplete her health. So once she gets to that big chest, she's either going to run into them some more or bomb her way to the front of the dungeon. As mentioned before, if she wants to get onto that right side, she has a bow, of course, but there's many different ways to do that. She has access to a bottle, so she could use a potion glitch to get over to that side by displacing the camera and moving them over. You can also do mimic clips, which is, you can do that at all, well, as long as you can grab onto walls and pull them and maneuver the mimics in such a way that they go walking off into the, off screen, which makes the game think the door is, there's no enemies in the room and the door opens for you. And you can also hover over there, but that does require the boots. But mimic clipping is one way of getting over there anytime, but it is pretty difficult to mimic clip. I know like quite a few more people have been practicing that because that is just a means of always getting inside no matter what. Yeah, so he takes that death warp to the front using some bombs at the big chest there and is now making her way to Helmsor. And this should be a difficult fight for us. You can top off her health here at the small pods if she wants to. And the turtle rooms will not be any issue either thanks to having that lamp.
Yeah, and Hitsuyan just following suit now. He's going to go for his pod dip here, which once he completes this, that'll give him his second crystal of the match, with him completing Thieves Town. Here, probably in the next 2 minutes, SailorNep will finally have her first crystal of the dungeon. Because as you said, I mean, with that hammer, she's going to have her lamp here, make life extremely easy. Killing all these wonderful, wonderful turtles in these rooms.
Yeah, so Hitsuyan's making up a little bit of time here, thanks to getting that boss kill. And but he's still going to be a little behind here. It exceeds kind of, it's definitely linear so far. There's not a lot of divergence you can make up and say going into Desert Palace early or later, but at some point you've got to go over there and then go to Sora to get Dark World access. The main time loss here for Hitsuyan is going to be clearing the front half of, well, most of Eastern Palace, minus the boss, of course. And that's a play I don't see SailorNep probably doing any time at all doing this race. There's really no reason for her to go into there unless he wants to check out the green pendant.
And just like that, 8 arrows takes down King Helmsor, and roughly at 40.5 minutes, SailorNep takes down her first boss and just gets a crystal, or gets the map for all of her hard work on that one.
So I imagine we'll be seeing her go up to the mountain now, having that hook shot. So she has access to the whole mountain, except for what's on top of Spectacle Rock. And also what's from the Ether tablet, because she can read it, but she can't get the item.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to believe here. We are 41 minutes into the game, and still no sword. Hopefully, that'll give you change here shortly.
It's worth pointing out that we don't need a sword before Ganon's Tower at all. Skullwood is a pendant, so we're not going to need to slash the curtain. We're not going to need to kill Agawan, so we don't need to slash the curtain there either. We don't need a sword at all before going into Ganon's Tower, as far as I know. So there could totally be 4 swords in like GT. Yes, of course. Chat does point out that we do need at least 1 sword to open up my own Turtle Rock, because you can't use medallions without a sword. But so yeah, we are going to get 1 sword for Ganon's Tower. My mistake.
But yeah, man
didn't. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say there could still totally be 3 swords in GT, and I've seen that before. It's not pleasant. Alright, piece of heart inside Spectacle Rock.
And then that's our second bottle there, right there on top of Spec Rock.
And I imagine that bee's just going to stay there forever. Well, SailorNep actually dipping into Spike Cave pretty early.
Yeah, with half magic though, in that cave makes life makes this pretty simple here.
This is typically something you see people do at the end of their mountain checks or after they've done Hera, but having the half magic, it makes getting through here quite a bit easier for SailorNep, so he doesn't have to rely on her health, and there's that first sword.
Wow.
But yeah, so you can just take the save and crit here, and that will, and then from there go back to the mountain cave, and then just start doing her East Mountain checks.
Now,
So hey, so you can check that Eva tablet now.
yeah, that was definitely a nice find there at Spike Cave. Definitely really early to see that, because I mean I've seen several races here that it's Spike Cave was definitely last place, and SailorNep's got a hook shot. Oh, and there it is. Okay, that's the last item that we have here in Palace Art. I was kind of wondering where she found that hook shot. So
yeah, that's just in the bottom right chest of the Dark Maze, which we saw Hitsuyan just grab.
So Pod was interesting. We found ourselves the Ether Medallion, found ourselves half magic, found ourselves the hook shot. It definitely a good stop early in this race.
And Hitsuyan, also on his way to Helmsaw King, skips out on the big chest. I didn't see him open up that big chest. He might have hammer jumped over and opened it anyway. But
I believe it was just it was either the map or the compass. It was one of those that was in there.
We've got a Master Sword popping up here in Padzo's Cave. Also a Mirror Shield. And a Time Submit. Pretty good Paradox Cave.
Oh, she does have the Master Sword, so we must have found our second sword there in that cave.
Yeah, I just said it was in Paradox Cave.
Oh, I totally missed. I just looked at her sword and it looked a little bit more bluer than it usually does, so.
Her sprite is also looking a little bit more bluer, so she's picked up blue now.
Didn't get to see what was on that floating island.
Neither did I, unfortunately. But that's not going to be a consideration right now, because we don't know where the mirror is. We are going to need a mirror at some point, because Storm Palace is a crystal. Gonna have a little peek at this Ether tablet too before going into Hera. Hera is just a pendant, so maybe we'll skip that. But not much we can do otherwise. We can't get into Swamp Palace again because of having no mirror. We can finish Desert Palace due to having the lamp. We can get into Mizumaya now and also Turtle Rock.
Yeah. Tower of Hair here is completable, but unfortunately though it is just a pendant here, so it'll be interesting to see how far SailorNep goes into this race, or into this dungeon.
Looks like he's going to be setting up a Hera pod here, using bomb jumps to clip himself into this pod here. Then once he's clipped into pods, he just uses the hookshot to go to the other side of the pod, and that sends her down the hole. Normally, sorry.
Now, I say she did find the big key, so at least she's not going to leave anything upstairs or anything left upstairs. And there at 46.5 minutes, Hitsuyan gets his second crystal of the match. And looks like Hera was empty, just a heart piece and 5 fruit pieces there. But it looks like she did find the small key, so she's going to go take on Moldorm.
Moldorm plays nicely for her jump down, and she does not get bounced around. And there we go. 3 spins takes care of Big Worm.
So that puts the compass downstairs in the basement, and just like that now, SailorNep got herself both a pendant and a crystal. It'll be interesting to see where she goes from here with those Titans mitts. Hopefully she'll go back and go complete the rest side of
I imagine she's going to do East Death Mountain from here, no doubt about that. I don't think she's done Spiral Cave yet, so she'll just do Spiral Cave on her way down and then go into the Dark World and check out the Super Bunny Cave. And also Hookshot Cave. She might take a little peek into Turtle Rock. It is pretty easy to get locked out of Turtle Rock as soon as you don't find a small key. So, and she doesn't have the fire rod to do the right side, so... but it is also possible to find a fire rod on Laser Bridge itself. It all depends on the keys in Turtle Rock.
Yeah, we finally did get to see that floating island, that item up there. That was just the red mail. I did not see where they found their first mail upgrade.
Yeah, that was in Paradox Cave too.
Oh, was that in Paradox Cave as well? See, where would I be without you, Ocelot? I'd be totally lost.
Yeah. Now, Hitsuyan is on 1 heart, so luckily he's got half magic to take care of him here. And he's going to get that first sword too. We're starting off with boots in Hookshot Cave. Normally an item that you would get by checking with boots if you didn't have a hookshot.
That boot's definitely a good find now. That now opens up a few more places, gives us bonk rocks, so now allows us to see what's on the torch in Desert Palace, gives us King's Tomb.
Got a Quake medallion in Super Bunny Cave. That's 2 out of 3 medallions. A pretty good chance we can get into Mizimaya and clear that now. Unless it is the 1 out of 3 chance it's bombers. And looks like she is going to take a peek into Turtle Rock. So I quite like this. It's easy to get locked out of a dungeon early on, and if you get locked out of a dungeon early on, you don't really lose much time going in here anyway. And if there's something necessary down here, like a mirror or even a fire rod itself, then you know that either you had to go do this anyway to get your fire rod, or you had to go double dip it to get your mirror, go out, do something else, and then find your fire rod. So yeah, I definitely like dipping into Turtle Rock here. And yes, he gets locked out immediately because he doesn't find a small key. Because without having the fire rod, she cannot light up the torches on the right side to get her small key. So 1 item and done.
And it looks like she's going to check out these couple places here that she can check here between King's Tomb.
Okay, that was big 20 in the King's Tomb. You can tell by the sound.
Yeah, just some form of money here.
SailorNep is definitely saving frames here and trying to go as fast as possible, and it's definitely working out for her so far. More rupees in Bone Crocs, saving more frames. I wonder if she's going to save the animals at the end.
I think you might be just a tad bit confused on your games. And I use the word tad very, very cautiously, since it is part of another game that we like to play here between A Link to the Past and Super Metroid.
Alright, she's back in Phyllis Valcosts. She could be going to go do blind here, because she's obviously missing an item from Feast Town, having done both the big chest, well, skipped on both big chest and blind. Not by choice on blind, but she's heading to south anyway. She could also be starting the Smith Chain, and that would be very reasonable to do. But yeah, she's going to finish off a dungeon for now. It really doesn't take her much time to get over to blind, so it's not a huge deal if you take a death on blind. Especially now that you have Boots in hand, you can just dash all the way back there.
Yeah, it looks like that's exactly where she's going. She's going to go... Hopefully she'll go straight to blind here. And it looks like Hitsuyan just going to nope out after getting that second item there in Tower of Hera.
Yeah, so now she has a sword in hand, she could do the scripted blind kill if she chose to. But unfortunately, because he's already taken a Jeff on blind, he starts in a room already active, and the script is no longer available to her. The script is a so-called pattern to blind, where once you activate the boss, and for the very first time, he does an exact set of movements every single time. So with your own precise movements, you can make the boss fight play out in exactly the same way every time, and do the fight on just 3 hearts and never take any damage, if you so chose to. But now she's got plenty of means to just power through the fight, and Hitsuyan is getting brutally dead-rocked here on Death Mountain.
That he is, and here we are at a little over 53 minutes. SailorNep has tied up the crystal count now at 2 apiece. Looks like she's now going to make her way south. Going to do that Smith chain. She quickly saves and quits, so she's going to turn him in fairly quickly here.
Poor Hitsuyan. He got dead rocked the first time. He goes off screen to reset the dead rocks, and he gets dead rocked a second time. That is just horrible.
Now, I'm kind of curious, did we happen to see a spiral cave check? Because Hitsuyan, it looked like he was kind of going back and forth, trying to decide if he was going to check it or not. And I don't think he did. I don't think he checked. I think they both skipped
I think they both skipped it, which is unusual. A lot of people do like to skip it because it takes a long time to do, but still kind of want to do it because it's just like one of your Death Mountain plays, and especially if you're going into Dark World, I'd say just do Hair first, then take Spiral Cave on your way down. But both runners chose to open up Turtle Rock and go into Dark World that way and skip out on Spiral Cave. So that will remain a mystery for now.
Yeah, well, hopefully they do not forget that they got to do Spiral Cave. I mean, I've did a race earlier this week where that's where our go mode item was. It was. I mean,
I don't think they are forgetting Spiral Cave. I think they're just making a conscious decision to skip it and say there is probably no item here. I'm going to do this and save myself a bunch of time and do other things instead that are more interesting to me. It's definitely a gamble, and it's definitely a gamble that you would suddenly do if you want to save yourself time and get through the seed quicker. Oh, Hitsuyan gets bonked by the Barry at the end there and has to do the hookshot cave again.
Yeah, unfortunately, though, just a little bit disappointed there in hookshot cave. I mean, yes, we did find the boots and a heart container, but just got that money that really don't need at this point for either one of these runners.
Now, missing my entrance was Quake Medallion, so we are able to get into the dungeon and clear it. We're definitely looking for a fire rod and a mirror here. Bombers would be another option that would let us get into Ice Palace, but it wouldn't let us clear the seed because we have fire rods locked in Turtle Rock, as you're about to see on the Hitsuyan side. Oh, and he gets bonked by another Barry and gets sent back to the beginning again. Oh dear. Hitsuyan is just having the worst luck of enemies right now. And there's that 50 rupees. He's locked out for dungeon. He's got to go elsewhere. So he's going to do his boost checks as well. He might decide to go do the first part of a Smith chain like SailorNep did. He does not need to do Fuse Turn again, so he saves himself a good minute and a half there at least. SailorNep making her way through Missy and Maya. Don't think she's had the big key yet, so either way you're going to be doing this, but at this point you're definitely hunting for items so that you can get into other dungeons, and yeah, I just don't like that Spiral Cave skip. Especially when you're starting to hunt for stuff. But at the very least, SailorNep is going to be scanning this dungeon to find her big key, and hopefully the other 2 items in it as well.
Well, she already found her big key. Her big key was there on that north chest there.
Okay, yeah. So as usual for Maya, you get a gold Maya with your big key being an initial part, and then you have to go and check the rest of it for items anyway. Happens every time.
Yeah, the only thing she's been finding so far is dungeon items. She's found herself 2 keys, the compass and the big key, so hopefully she'll find both our items here
Yeah, so
rather shortly.
So rather than go over to the cutscene chest, he's making them more efficient in terms of checks. And going over to the right side here, check out the big chest and small chest. And imagine from here, so he's going to go on to Vitreous and hope that the cutscene chest is nothing.
Yeah, Vitreous is going to turn into a 50-50 shot. Is it going to be the item or is it going to be the map? While Hitsuyan now making his way into Misery Mire.
Yeah, he hasn't done the first part of that Smith chain like SailorNep has, so he's definitely starting to catch up here. It all comes down to that Eastern Palace and what Hitsuyan did in that. So, worst thing for SailorNep would be if that Eastern Palace, that green pendant turns out to be something. And it totally could be, because we've had full access to Eastern Palace for a while now, having Lamp and Bow. So if that green pendant is going to turn into something like a mirror or fire rod, that could be bad for SailorNep because he has to clear the whole dungeon, but it could also be bad for Hitsuyan because he's already been in there and cleared out most of the items, so that would be more for last location thing for him. So that could be an opportunity for Hitsuyan to catch up, but at the same time, it could also be bad for him. We won't know until runners are starting to run out of options, I would imagine.
Well, we got a person in chat right now that's he's asking a very cruel question at this point in the race, being almost an hour in, is he's asking if Pet is dead yet, and we have not seen the pedestal yet, which, yeah, the only thing that could really be on there might be the mirror, so.
Yeah, it can only be mirror, because the pedestal is fire rod locked.
And SailorNep, she is using that cape, she is swinging like crazy to take down those eyeballs with the Master Sword.
Yeah, this is definitely an underappreciated strat for Vitreous. When you are spamming your sword while the cape is active, you don't drain magic, so you can just sit there and spam to your heart's content and take out all of those eyeballs while draining very little magic in the process.
And 8 shots with that arrow gets us our blue cane, so the gamble was good on SailorNep's side, and that gives her now 3 crystals. Now the question is where does she go next? I mean, does she continue her journey through the dark world, or?
And Hitsuyan is going to go for that cutscene chest, so he's going to get that remaining dungeon item here. So he loses a little bit of time again.
Unfortunately for his trouble here, he's only going to find himself the map here of the dungeon. So SailorNep flew now, saving and quitting, fluting back to desert now so that she can full complete that. Bet she wished she had that mirror, make life 10 times easier, but with those boots, it should be a very quick dungeon here in desert.
I believe we only saw the power gloves as one item here in desert, so I think there's still one other item to grab. That totally could be mirror.
Yeah,
but,
you are.
So we would have been able to grab that until we had boots.
Yeah, we have not seen what's here on the torch yet, and
yeah, that was the big key on torch. There was nothing else it could be. So you would use that big key to get to the back, and also get that big chest too. And that was just 10 hours. Hitsuyan about to finish up his check, so he's going to be also on his way to Vitreous.
Yeah, if you guys have not already done so, here we are, a little over an hour. Give these runners a follow. They've been giving us a great race so far. Very tight. It's kind of hard to tell who's in the lead right now, even though SailorNep does kind of have a brief edge right now. We'll see how long that lasts. But yeah, definitely give our runners a follow. Big shout out to our tracker, Professor Pixie. Big shout out to my co-com, Revolving Oscillator. Give all of them a good follow if you're enjoying the race.
Oh, thank you. And yeah, do check out our runner streams because they do tons of Link to the Past Rando. I mean, if they didn't do tons of Link to the Past Rando, they probably wouldn't have the skill to get into the Invitational League. This is definitely the top players here that are playing in the Invitational League because they got a direct invite to it.
Yeah, this league, if you've not had a chance to check it out, I mean, man, you got to check it out. Check out the videos from past races. It's amazing how tight a lot of these races are. And as I'm speaking here, SailorNep, she's taking down Lamos with the ice rod.
Yeah, it's a little bit more awkward to use than the fire rod, but it's definitely a good working strat for the land molars.
And they're at an hour and 3 minutes. That gives her fourth crystal of the game. Be interesting to see where she goes from here. I mean, she had just about everything open except for Swamp Palace.
So Hitsuyan was going for Sword Spin there on Vitreous, which is obviously, well, more costly on his magic, and I don't think it's much faster than just spamming the sword, so I definitely like spamming the sword there. But he had plenty of arrows to take out that last little eyeball and big Vitreous eyeball, so it doesn't matter to him too much, whatever he does.
But if I remember correctly, if you use that cape and you're spamming your sword, your magic goes down even slower than what it already does.
Yeah, that's what I just. Yeah, I did describe that earlier. When you're swinging your sword, your magic does not get drained during the sword swing animation. So SailorNep's going to finish off her Smith Chain here, so he's going to do Hammer Pegs and Purple Chest right afterwards. And Hitsuyan has not done the Smith Chain at all. So potential to save some time here if there's nothing.
Yep.
That just looked like a bottle in Hammer Pegs.
Yeah, that would have been our second bottle of the game so far.
SailorNep grabbing that Purple Chest, going to save and crit to get back into Light World and hands it in. Trying to find her flute through quick swaps because you can just flute to the dam and make your way quicker to the locksmith from there. Okay, I did not catch what that item was. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I can say it's probably going to be a fire rod or bomb burst because SailorNep is now beelining towards Ice Palace. I guess we'll see what items he did grab in a second. It's fire rod. Okay. So that's definitely the more preferable of the items to find instead of bombers behind it. So yeah, that's a fire rod. We are one item away from go mode.
Yeah, that's kind of a cruel location there for that fire rod being that far buried there in the purple chest.
And that's pretty bad for Hitsuyan because he hasn't done anything with the Smith Chain at all just yet. It's not going to be slow for him to do Smith Chain because he will have to do a bunch of saving crits to do it, but he does have food for quicker flying around and stuff. But it's not ideal.
And it sounds like that she's going to be hitting the switch here with that cane. Hopefully we'll get to see a nice little icebreaker here.
Yeah, we're going to be flying a little blind here on SailorNep's side again, unfortunately, so we'll play it by ear. We've done a good job of estimating what she's done so far by ear, so we'll do it again. Ooh, we've got a lot of catch up here.
Holy cow, all of a sudden we fast forward. And she does the icebreaker and just finds herself just a small key. And Hitsuyan also uses those famous ice rod shots to take down Lamos and picks up his fourth crystal of the match.
Alright, we know that Hitsuyan has to do the Smith chain now. He doesn't really have many other options, and he is rooting to 3, so this is looking to be a good start for him. He will have to follow it all the way through and hand in that purple chest, but if he's starting with this immediately, there's a pretty good chance he will follow it all the way through. So still lagging a little behind SailorNep here, unfortunately. But he's doing the right things. It all just comes down to that Eastern Palace versus Desert Palace early on. And that's been the big bugbear for Hitsuyan here. And there was really no way to say what the correct play was. The game was kind of pointing you towards Desert Palace due to having that book, but that doesn't guarantee you items there. They could have just as easily been in Eastern Palace.
Yeah, I mean, we got that book extremely early. It wasn't until we got to Death Mountain, I believe, is where we found that. Bow.
There's another big 300 in the big chest. Hitsuyan grabs a blacksmith and does his first save and crit. He's going to have to do a bunch more, unfortunately. Flooding the smith back to 3, and now he could choose to leave and put off that purple chest for a bit, which would be the absolutely wrong play here. Or he could choose to do it. We'll just have to see. Well, SailorNep taking on Cold Stare.
Wow, that was a very quick fight.
Absolutely. All those Cold Stares just lined up nicely against the wall after her fireball shots, so that she could kill them quickly with many Master Sword swings. The nice thing about having half magic there is that you have no choice but to break the ice shell with the fire rod, but you only drain half your magic to break that shell, as opposed to all of your magic. So you've got plenty of leftover shots to take on the Cold Stares with. So from here, there's really no choice for SailorNep other than to go do Turtle Rock. And Hitsuyan is on his way to go do the purple chest, so he's going to get his fire rod shortly. I'd definitely say he's about 4 or 5 minutes behind SailorNep. It's a pretty big disadvantage for Hitsuyan, but it's not completely insurmountable. If SailorNep runs into complete disaster sea in Turtle Rock and gets him back to the beginning, or other disastrous things, he could definitely catch up. But it's going to be more reliant now on SailorNep making mistakes rather than Hitsuyan making good routing choices. Because this has honestly been a really linear seed.
Yeah, that it has. I mean, the nice thing is it's definitely pushing us in the right direction. Really hasn't been too many variations in the game once we start finding all of those items. And speaking of that, Hitsuyan picks up his fire rod, now jet lining it all the way into Ice Palace.
SailorNep entering Turtle Rock just a few minutes before. Gotta go over to the right side to grab our keys. This is a firewall locked dungeon. Missing that first hook shot on the torch, but you've got some plenty more chances to get at to get yourself back to the beginning of the room. Having blue mail and plenty of hard containers SailorNep is just damage tanking your way through some of those rollers. Using the hook shot for that other one to get some iframes, and that one too. You've got plenty of magic to work through thanks to having half magic, so you could totally just slap on the cape and go through the rollers that way too, but many working strats for that room. Hitsuyan also going to go for the icebreaker here in Ice Palace. So assuming he can do this as quickly as SailorNep was able to and gets done in fairly short order, he won't be losing in much time here in Ice Palace compared to SailorNep, or any time at all, really. But it's definitely dependent on him to catch up with execution, I think, at this point. And right now, it's definitely looking like he's struggling a bit to get the right positioning for Icebreaker. Gets it done now, but it's kind of hard to tell from SailorNep's little stream catch-up there, but I think she definitely did it a bit quicker than Hitsuyan.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. I think she did it just slightly faster. Looks like all our items are going to be here on Laser Bridge here in Turtle Rock, which kind of seems to be the norm here lately in Turtle Rock.
I don't mind items being on Laser Bridge so long as I never get to see a Firewall Ice Roll combo on there again.
Now, I've never been tortured that way before. I've seen several times where the Ice Rod has been in here, but never the Ice Rod Fire Rod combo. That's extra mean. That's worse than something being important on the pedestal.
It's an example I would like to bring up whenever anybody says, "Oh, you can't get the Fire Rod on Laser Bridge. That's impossible." No, it's definitely possible. Yeah, Dante in chat remembers that too. I remember calling that match for him. That was Bruce Van JP versus Clay Plow in one of the tournaments about a year or two ago. Definitely one of my favorite matches ever. That was really close and utterly ridiculous at the end there. And we've got a great match here coming up too. Well, we've got a great match here too. Hitsuyan, unfortunately, is about 4 or 5 minutes behind SailorNep, but he's definitely has some potential to catch up here. See how his cold stick kill goes. He's got 1 puff down. 2 puffs, not quite getting them all stuck against the walls like SailorNep did, but not really losing much time on that kill. Gets his fare in a bottle, and now he's going to be off to Turtle Rock too. So SailorNep needs to grab 1 more key here from Laser Bridge. I imagine there's a very good chance he goes and checks out the rest of Laser Bridge just to try and get a Tempered Sword or Mirror, which is the necessary item for Go mode here. Also for ours, that would be nice too. And unfortunately, it's just rupees and the keys in the last chest.
That sounded like a heart piece right there in that last one, so Trinex does have it. The last key, I think, was in that second to last chest.
Yeah. She doesn't have too much health for Trinex. It isn't a particularly threatening boss, and she has a fairy in a bottle, so she's not going to run into difficulties here. But so he's going to pull out some hammer strats here, so he's going to freeze at 1 head and switch to the hammer and give it a few hits, and then probably for the... yeah, there she goes. Just as he's swinging the hammer for the last hit on the fire heads, he goes into a menu and switches to the fire rod for the ice head to prevent it from breathing ice. Because whilst the 1 head is blowing up like that, you can't actually switch to your menu. You can quick swap though. We've got quick swap enabled, so you can still quick swap.
Yeah, that's kind of one of the weird things about this game. I know we've broken this game a lot over the last 30 years, but when it comes to little things like that, we can never switch items during a bombing animation.
Last item on Trinex is 10 arrows. Ooh, dear. Where's a mirror? We are going to have to start digging through pendants.
Yeah, that we are. We've already seen Skullwoods. That's where we got our first bow. There's still an item left in Eastern Palace.
I'm not quite sure what Hitsuyan was trying to do for Samurai block with the rollers. I think he is trying to switch to his cape and got the wrong item and placed the block down. But he goes to his cape and gets through the rollers that way. Yeah, so I think from here, SailorNep's probably going to think... well, she's not thinking Eastern Palace, but yeah, I'd probably be thinking Eastern Palace myself. There's a few items to get in there and that green pendant hand in. But she's going to go back to Skullwoods instead and finish that off first.
Actually, I think she's going to go check
No,
the
she's
ped
going to check pedestal, yeah. There's our book. So she's taking care of the worst case scenario, and if she does have worst case scenario, she's just going to go to Skullwoods, do that, and then do Eastern Palace. Whereas if it's not worst case scenario, then she's probably going to do Eastern Palace instead. Oh, curse you, lag.
What the heck? That's so cruel. Somebody tell her to go back. Go back. Let's check that one more time,
Well, she's
please.
fluting away. No, she's fluting to 3. No, she's fluting to 4. Yeah, she's going to do something. She's not going to Eastern Palace. Okay. This could be Bomber's Tablet, and then she goes to Eastern Palace afterwards. I think that could be quite likely. No, she's not going to Bomber's Tablet.
She can check 5-6. Or no, she can't. Swamp Palace are 5-6. So never mind. Pyramid Fairy is. Pyramid Fairy
is nothing. It could be 2 swords, and you never see those swords. So.
Yeah, she has not.
She's not checked Stumpy. Oh yes, she did Hype Cave early, and then she just hasn't done Hype Cave. Well, not Hype Cave. Stumpy and Digging Game. Did you do Digging Game? I think Hitsuyan did Digging Game.
I believe that she did. Digging Game just had.
Yeah, it had nothing for Hitsuyan. He obviously didn't do this earlier because he's now doing it.
It was a very quick dig, if I remember right.
Yeah, Hitsuyan did Hype Cave last after, well, not her last kind of in Dark World, but he went over to that after doing Dig Game and Stumpy, so he has done
You
Stumpy.
know, there is one place that both runners have forgotten that I just now thought of. Spiral Cave.
To code. I'll remember how to speak English someday. It could totally be there, but she's going to take the Eastern Palace option. This is definitely the option that I would go for, but oh man, okay. That's got to be biting them right about now.
Yeah, neither one of our. I know Hitsuyan didn't check it. I'm not 100% sure on SailorNep's side.
I'm sure they both didn't do it. I didn't see them do this in their initial Light World checks on Death Mountain, and they certainly didn't do it when they were making way into the Dark World to do their dark checks. They just went into They just went over to Turtle Rock and opened that straight away, and then did the Hookshot Cave and Super Bunny Cave. Yeah, so SailorNep's not going to grab anything in the front here. Back, Amos Knights and the Green Pendant is another matter.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a shot in the dark here since SailorNep did pick up the other. Since she did go to the Dig Game, pick up other spots that she hasn't been to. I'm going to assume that Pet is probably dead.
Oh, absolutely.
I would like to think of that had the Pet been the mirror, she probably would have gone straight into taking down all these pendants.
Yeah, I mean, she would have just gone straight to Skullwoods if the Pet was something. But the fact that she fluted away immediately told me that it wasn't Pet. And then she just did things like Stumpy and Digging Game, so that just confirmed it further.
And I believe we did have a magic bat check, but they used the fake powder on that.
Yeah, we had a magic powder check whilst SailorNep was in blackout mode, and that obviously wasn't the mirror.
Yeah, and all the other places that I can think of so far that they have not been able to check yet is all of the mirror lock places like Cave 45, the Mimic Cave. And it looks like we're going to be...
It's second to last crystal, and there's not much standing in over to Eastern Palace right now because he's done the front half of it already. He's taking the save and crit. He's going to the mountain cave, but he's going to his flute. Yeah, he's just fluting away.
Yeah, and I don't think we've seen Bombo's tablet yet, but again, that is a mirror lock location.
Now, Bombo's tablet mystery, and he is actually heading back to Eastern Pass. Okay. He does have to clear way less of a dungeon, so he's not going to waste time checking out the pestle. He could save a little bit of time here. Plus, SailorNep was on her way to the big key chest. So that is something that Hitsuyan doesn't need to do. Unfortunately, he's still got to do most of the front half of his dungeon again due to just the way Eastern Pass is laid out. So he saves himself a little time here, but not as much time as he would need to save to come out ahead. Unfortunately, we have lost SailorNep's stream again. If she just finds she's probably going to find at this rate the mirror first if it's from like the Armor Knight or the Green Pendant, and that would mean that she's first into Swamp Palace and probably going to be the first to GT. But if it's not here, then it's going to be a mystery.
Well, mystery week's not here for a couple more weeks now, so let's not be thinking about that. I know a lot of people enjoy that week, so. Well,
we've got a frame,
frame,
and it looks like it's in the exact same room that Hitsuyan was in. But notes he's fast forwarding a bit. Yeah, I think she's got a bit of stream catch up here to do, and then yep, she's in. Okay, so
she
fair to say that she picked up the mirror at some point.
So at least she did find the mirror. So as quickly as that was, not a whole lot of time went by. So it's probably easy to say that that mirror is probably going to be here on Armos Nights.
Did you know that mirror can warp you through both time and space?
Okay, looks like I was wrong. That's the heart container. Maybe it's going to be there on Saha then. Maybe that's the cruel item location.
SailorNep had no time to check out Spiral Cave, so the answer is Sahasrara. And Hitsuyan is going to save himself a bit of time by not checking that pestle, because he's going to get his mirror straight away here. So he's slowly catching up. But at this rate, it could come down to Gan's Tower routing or a unfortunate mistake on SailorNep's side. But I imagine SailorNep is probably going to be our first one into Gan's Tower, and we'll be doing the Gan's Tower big key guessing game on SailorNep's side as soon as she takes down Argus. So get ready for that. For now, she's going to go quickly through Swamp Palace, going to do a little bit of diver down here. Lacking Silver As and Tempered Swords, she's probably going to be checking out the two chests here too. And we knows what those are to lag, but Hitsuyan is really close behind now. So we'll be seeing what those are pretty shortly. If we do have like the stream cut out on SailorNep's side when she goes into GT, we might just do the big key guessing game by Hitsuyan's side.
Yeah, that's probably going to be the safe thing to do with how Hitsuyan. I don't think Hitsuyan's lost any frames at all, so.
Yeah, he saves the frames, but unfortunately we can't use his audio, so. Yes, SailorNep's dropping quite a lot of frames still, so I think we'll just do the big key guessing game on Hitsuyan's side, since he's pretty close behind now. He's making his way into dungeon just as SailorNep is on Argus. So we won't be starting it just yet on SailorNep's side. We'll start it for when Hitsuyan kills Argus.
Yeah, I'll throw that start in there here as soon as he takes down Argus. So be thinking of your numbers, but don't be putting them in yet when SailorNep takes down Argus here in the next few seconds here.
Hey, there's a temperature from you. So yeah, we don't need to check out any other chests.
Yeah, definitely makes. I'm sure that puts a nice big smile there on SailorNep's face, finding that tempered sword.
Absolutely.
I was personally starting to get a little worried on that, thinking that there's going to be two swords in GT along with probably the silvers. But thank goodness we don't have to go on a sword hunt.
SailorNep making a way up to the top of the mountain. Hitsuyan is making his way into the basement. He's also going to do the diver down glitch here to do a little shortcut through Swamp Pass and save himself some time. He had a little bit of trouble with the previous icebreaker glitch in Ice Palace, so he's going to set himself up with a little bomb bounce here, and yeah, there we go. Nicely done. Yeah, there's two ways you can do the diver down glitch. So you can either use a Mario block to clip yourself through the barrier, or you can jump in the water, jump out, and use a bomb jump to clip yourself through that way. The bomb jump is definitely a more reliable method because you won't always have some Mario going into Swamp Palace. But if you do have a Mario, it's also the quicker one to use it. So it's worth learning both of those techniques. So this could come down to GT routing. It's certainly possible that Hitsuyan gets into the tower probably a minute and a half behind SailorNep at this point, but finds the big key first. But we will be doing the big key guessing game by his chest count, unfortunately, due to SailorNep's stream issues. So if SailorNep does grab the big key first, then that's going to be a preview of what you get.
Yeah, and as soon as Argus goes down, I'll hit my enter button and we'll go ahead and get started with that game. So get your chests in order 1 through 22. Not yet on chat, but in your heads, get it put.
3 gold sword and torch? Yeah, I'll take that.
All right, so there you go. Go ahead and start throwing in your guesses real quick here.
Yeah, my regular guess of 19. It's been a reliable one for me in previous leagues. It hasn't worked out for me at all, and it's a super early big key there. That's chest number 3 on left side. So there's absolutely no way that Hitsuyan is going to make up time in GT, and if he decides to go right side, if he goes to Hope Room and finds a small key and then continues on right side, he could actually be losing time in GT. Ooh, that's not pleasant. But yeah, that's going to depend on where Hitsuyan goes in the tower. I can say now that my guess of 19 is not going to work out.
I'm kind of surprised right now. I'm looking at what some of Chad's guesses are right now, and I've only seen 2 3s after we found it. So I was kind of surprised we didn't have like a whole bunch of.
I'll stop it now.
All right, there you go. I just stopped it there. So
do sort of like do cheat mode for it. So Hitsuyan has got to go left immediately. He has no other options. If he does any other options, he's going to be losing time. This is going to be down to execution, and I think SailorNep has the edge here, for sure.
Yeah, and she picked up that butter sword, so that's going to make life a little bit easier. I mean, granted, not much difference between butter sword and temper sword when it comes down to the Ganon fight, so...
The Gold Sword doesn't really do anything on the Gauntlet, and the Butter Sword just makes phase 2 on Ganon and 3. It's pretty free as it is already, because you've got half magic, and you've got a blue person to use in at least one of those bottles. So you can totally slap on your cape and just go ham on Ganon, pun intended, and get him into phase 3 in one cycle with no problems at all. But Gold Sword just makes it super free. Alright, Hitsuyan, we need you to go left immediately. He's going right. Oh no. If he finds himself at arrows here, which is incredibly unlikely, I have to help him. But he finds a small key. That's not good. Is that going to send him further? Yeah. Oh no. That's going to send him further right. Oh no. At least he's not taking a tower room gamble. Nobody does that.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've actually seen a tire room gamble. It's probably been a couple years I've seen that.
The times I do see tire room gambles are when runners have had an absolutely brutal seed and are just going in full pessimist mode. But it's very, very seldom that happens. Well, on the right side, there was just a bunch of rupees and a piece of heart. And SailorNep is already nearing the top of the gauntlet. So he's not going to be taking out any of his other chests for silver arrows. He doesn't need them. Xian also grabbing that gold sword. Do you think it's faster to bonk into the torch and grab a sword? Or do you think it's faster to just slap on the cape and go spam Ganon with a tempered sword? I think the cape and spamming is a little faster, but it's close. It's ridiculously close. Alright, Hitsuyan grabs that big key, and he did 2 on the right side, plus 4 in compass room. So that would be chest number 7 for it.
Actually, that was chest 9. Because he went full right, that's 6. The torch, and then 2 there. So, winner for that is...
Yeah.
is that Octo Tom? I'm going to guess what that is. Hopefully I said that right. He won that. He got himself a grand total of 25 points, so... And now here we are on everybody's math test. The good old Aga 2 fight here, and just like that, Aga 2 down.
Hitsuyan, he's made, unfortunately, quite a few wrong choices here. Not due to any bad plays on his part, just like Rando, the nature of Rando has not been favoring Hitsuyan here. So, it's SailorNep and 4 here and still be absolutely fine. Hitsuyan still has the entire gauntlet to clear. This is quite unfortunate for him.
Yeah, I mean, you really can't say anything on Hitsuyan, so I mean, he really didn't make any bad choices at all. I mean, when he went into Eastern Palace at the start of the game, he couldn't finish it because he didn't have the bow yet. So, I mean, that's really about the only choice that's really different between these 2 runners. I mean, other than left and right side GT, so...
So as mentioned before, the gold sword makes phase 2 on Ganon super easy and free. You don't need to worry about anything. You just hit him a few times and he's already in phase 3 before he even expands his circle of fire bats. So it's just a really comfortable way of getting through Ganon phase 2. But that's all really the gold sword does if you pick it up. It doesn't help you in the gauntlet at all. It doesn't help you in the other phases, really. Well, it does make it phase 1 a little quicker as well, but...
And now all she needs now is just 12 spins to get take down Ganon, which Ganon tells us that the silver arrows were in the dark world, so only place I can think of might be Mimic Cave. Well, no, Mimic Cave is I believe it's a Death Mountain check, correct?
It could be Mimic Cave, it could be Graveyard Ledge. It could be K45. No, not K45. Yeah, Graveyard Ledge and... Oh, wait. Graveyard Ledge is Light World. Yeah, Mimic Cave, I think.
But I'm pretty sure that neither one of these runners really needs to have their silver arrows to take down Ganon here. And there goes Ganon. 12 spins. Ganon blows up. We get our sword up in the air. And all SailorNep has to do now is just cross the bridge, 1x3 bridge. And just like that, with a time of 1 hour, 36 minutes, and 23 seconds, SailorNep, she is our winner. So get your GGs into this chat. What a great run by her. And it looks like Hitsuyan going to be right behind, not too far behind here.
He's on his Aga too. He also grabbed that gold sword. I think if you're taking phase 1 into account, I think grabbing the gold sword would just be slightly quicker than not grabbing it, but doesn't matter too much either way, in my opinion.
Me personally, I'm always a fan of it, even though everybody likes to tell me that it's not important. But if it's on my way, I will take it every single time.
I'll try and run us in for an interview, or at least SailorNep, since he's the first one to finish. We'll just have to sort this out quite quickly.
And just like that, Hitsuyan takes down Aga 2, getting ready to take his Ganon fight here. While you're getting ready to see a Ganon fight, again, make sure you give both of these runners a follow. Today is the last day, though, for week number 2 of the Link to the Past Randomizer League. There is one more match that's getting ready to happen, I think, here shortly. But next week starts our week number 3 is our standard seed defeat Ganon. Your regular opening. One difference is, though, it will be casual boots. So that'll be a very interesting week here. So again, if you get a chance to, please give these runners a follow. Give my CodeCom Revolving Ocelot a follow. Give our Tracker Knight Professor Pixie, give her a follow for all her hard work pushing the buttons here behind the scenes for us here. And it looks like here Hitsuyan getting ready to hit into phase number 4 of the Ganon fight. 12 more spins for him. Does not get the torch glitch, but that's okay though. With half magic, I'm sure won't be that too difficult for him. And just a few more swings here, and we will see the big pig down on Hitsuyan's side. Ooh, just misses on that. Gonna use a blue goo there, kind of running a little short on magic. And we're about a couple more hits away. And there he goes. Down goes Ganon, spamming those fire rod shots before he gets done with the game here. And as soon as he crosses this bridge, Hitsuyan will come in second place with a time of 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 19 seconds. Get your GGs in here for Hitsuyan.
Absolute GGs for him. He played well this seed. It's all came down to ruling choices for him. So we'll see if he joins us for an interview. Right now, we have SailorNep joining us for an interview. GGs.
Thanks. Sorry about the slideshow, by the way. I have no idea why that happened. I think sometimes Twitch is just weird with me because I did a speed test as soon as this ended. Totally fine.
Okay,
but
I practice playing the game blind for once. Judging the way we're going by audio, because we had full audio for you. So we're like, okay, you're doing Hype Cave now. Now going into Skull Woods and things like that. It's quite fun, actually.
Yeah, my heart leaped out of my chest when I got alerted about that. Somehow, I guess a hotkey went off in the background. That's never happened to me before. When I did the reset, it switched my scene, so I was just doing a blank scene. But aside from that, that was okay. The main thing that actually got me real rattled is, since I was thrown off by that, I kind of just walked past the Thieves Town big chest, and I realized it when I came back, and I was just like, that. I just have to hope it's nothing.
We're going to have to make this pretty quick since we do have another race coming up here on Speed Gaming 1. That's going to be the Pac-Man Arrangements tournament, so we'll just make things quick here. the things that were held up Hitsuyan here was that he last locationed the Desert Palace because he chose to go do Eastern Palace first. So it wasn't really his fault. It's just he chose to do routing, and it was the wrong routing for him. And he also went the wrong way against her. He went to the right side first instead of straight to the left side and grab his gold sword and big key there. So just those little differences got him 4 minutes behind here. If it wasn't for that, you guys would have been really, really close to each other.
That's understandable. I actually was in a similar spot with Desert early in the game. I think the difference for me is I did Front of Escape first as well as Uncle, because I thought that way if I find something that gives me a piece of Desert, like full clear access, I'll put it off. But if I don't find anything related to that, I'm going to go there first. And so I just followed through on that call.
And you did a couple extra things, like check out the pedestal, which Hitsuyan didn't do. So he was catching up through much of the seed as well. But so he definitely played this very, very well. It's just routing choices here that caused him to fall behind. Right. We are going to have to wrap things up here quickly because we've got our next race happening on ST1 shortly. Shoutouts to my co-coms, Bandman25. Shoutouts to our tracker, Professor Pixie, and we've got more league matches happening here on the Speed Gaming channels as well as the Link to Past League channels. So shout outs again to everyone. Thank you very much. And of course, shout outs to our racers SailorNep and Hitsuyan. We'll get their links in the chat there for you to give them a follow. GG's. I'll leave the last word to you, Bandman.
Yeah, GG's both runners. I'm going to make it quick as well. So thanks for watching us. Stick around for Pac-Man here in about 5-6 minutes. And good night, and take care of yourself and take care of your family. Have a good night.